Perfecting your web design sales script is one of the best decisions that you can make as a web designer because it could be the difference between building a thriving or a starving web design business. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the exact web design sales script and process that I've used to build a six-figure web design business. Let's go ahead and jump into the whiteboard and show you what it's all about. So, before I actually jump into the sales script, what I want to do with you is share three tactics that I use to drastically improve the conversion rates of my sales calls. So, if you want higher conversion rates, conversion rates. I recommend doing these three things. And let's go ahead and put these in blue. So the first thing that I do that drastically improves my conversion rate on sales calls is that I have a target market, aka a niche. I highly recommend that every web designer niche down their web design business because it'll make it infinitely easier to sell on sales calls. And it makes it easier because it's easier to sell to someone that you already know who that person is. And specifically, there are two things that you need to know about them. You need to know, one, their pain points, and two, you need to know the solutions to those pain points. And we're going to talk about this later on, but the whole goal of my sales call is to get the prospect to uncover or say the pain points that they have so that I can provide the solutions to those pain points. And now, if you have a target market, you already know what the pain points are in advance because everyone in the target market generally has the same pain points. And so, when you already know those in advance, it's easier for you to get those out of the client and then for you to provide the solution to those pain points. And let me go ahead and give an example. So one of the niche that I go after, I uncovered that they have like about 3 or 4 different pain points that always come up in conversations. And so some examples of those pain points are photos and videos. And so I work with a lot of new business owners who don't have any photos or videos to market their business. And that's one of the main reasons that it's a struggle for them to get their website up and running because they don't even have the material to build the website. So that's a pain point. So in the sales call, I'll have them uncover that pain point and then I'll provide the solution, which is simply me providing photos and videos. So pain point solution. Another pain point example that comes up with my clients are that they're overwhelmed with booking systems, aka or CRMs as they know. So a lot of them know that they need some sort of booking system or CRM in order to generate leads and customers and keep track of those customers, but there's so many solutions and answers out there for them that they oftentimes become overwhelmed. So when they come to me on the sales call, I already know the perfect booking software or CRM that'll fit for their business because again, I already know the target market. And so that's the solution that I provide. So as a part of solving this pain point, I will have some sort of CRM integration in my offer. And then one final pain point that I see a lot is just people coming for general business advice. And so, as web designers, you probably experienced this a lot. You know, our job, quote unquote, is to build websites, but because we're speaking with a lot of business owners, a lot of times they're actually coming to us for business advice. And I see this all the time with new business owners. And so they'll come to me like one of the main questions that they ask me is like, what should I be charging? How many packages should I have on there, etc. And because I have a target market and because I know all of the data, I already know exactly what their price point should be. And so I'm able to provide that business advice for them and create the website appropriate to that advice. So the solution to, them needing business advice is me just knowing and being able to provide advice that'll help improve their website. And this is something so that they don't have to think about it as well. And so pain points, solutions, super important to know that before going into the call. And the way that you know that is by having a target market. Now, there's a couple other reasons why I love having a target market and why it makes it easier for sales calls. And one of those reasons that comes later on is case studies. Obviously, for your first client, you're not going to have any case studies right away, but as you start building up your clientele, you're going to get those case studies, and those are super powerful because people love seeing that you have experience building websites within the niche that they are. And so, if a dentist comes to you wanting a website, and you've already built like 20 websites for dentists, of course they want to go with you because you have the experience. So that's going to be super good because when you have the experience, the sales calls way more easier. And another reason that I love having a target market is because they often come predisposed to buy. The longer that you serve a target market, the more that you'll realize is that they all speak with one another. And a lot of times, what will happen is that you'll get referrals from people and they'll see, like, hey, I saw you guys built this website for this other dentist out there, or whatever niche it is that you're targeting. And they'll come to you already kind of wanting to buy because they've already seen your work. And so I absolutely love that reason. And this is a huge reason why I'm able to close super highly on sales calls having a target market. So I highly recommend, if it isn't obvious, to niche down your web design business because you'll understand the pain points they have, which means you'll have the solutions ready for them. And you'll end up with a bunch of case studies, and they'll also come predisposed to buy the longer that you serve that market. So that's the first thing that I do for higher conversion rates. Let me go ahead and switch back to blue. Now, the second thing that I do for higher conversion rates is that I productized, and I hope that's a real word. I think it is, right? Yeah. I productized my service. So I do not offer custom web design packages. I offer one core offer to all of the clients that come to me. And because I'm targeting one target market, I'm able to do that because generally speaking, everyone within that niche needs the same solution. And so I'm able to provide that solution in a productized form. And this does a few things for me. The first thing that it does is I know the price of what it is that I am going to sell because it's productized. I already know the price on my back end. And I think this is super important because when I started my web design business, I noticed a lot of web designers, what they would do is they would jump on a one-on-one sales call. They will get to understand, the business with the clientele that they're talking to, and then they wouldn't give the price on that call. What they would do is that they would then jump off the call and say something like, cool, I'm going to draft up a proposal with a quote for you, and then I'm going to send that back to you. And to me, I tried that method at the beginning and it just didn't work for me. Like, I think the friction of it was just too much where I was first spending a lot of time creating these proposals and stuff like that. And then I would send it to them and I'll get ghosted. And I never really liked that. And so in my mind, I want to cause as little friction as possible or opportunities for the client to walk away. So in my opinion, proposals are a no-go. I do not do any proposals. I want to be able to give the price for what it is that I'm offering right there on the sales call so that they don't have to leave or anything like that. And to me, sometimes they don't buy right away on the sales calls, but I found it's a lot easier to follow up with the customer once you've already given them the price as opposed to having sent the proposal and trying to follow up on the proposal. And plus, it also saves me a bunch of time because I don't have to go out and make a bunch of proposals. And so I highly recommend, along with having a target market, to productize your web design business. Productize, productize, productize. This is like one of the best things that I've done for my web design business, and it makes sales calls so much easier. So I know the price, and not only do I know the price, but I know where the finish line is, for example. So the finish line. So when I'm on a sales call, when I first started sales calls, I would get on a call with a client. I didn't really know anything about their business. And so I was trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to offer to them. And I didn't really know where I wanted the call to end because everything was so custom and dependent on the questions that I was asking them. But now with a productized service, I know the exact finish line that I want to get to. I want to get to my productized service, And so I know the finish line. Let's say the finish line is right here with the little flag. And I know we start off over here with me and the client talking. And it's much easier to walk in a straight line going here to the finish line as it is opposed to asking a bunch of questions, not knowing where to go, and feeling like this little loop of a line here. And so knowing where my finish line is makes it a lot easier for me to get there in a sales call. So that is the second thing that I recommend doing is productizing your web design service. And of course, the way that you're going to productize your web design service is that you're going to build a service. Let's go ahead and make this, black. You're going to build a service that again solves the pain points that we've already talked about because we already know the pain points and the solutions. Perfect. So let me talk about the third thing that I do. So those are two things. The third thing that I do that drastically improves the conversion rates of my sales calls is I work hard to establish myself as the experts. And now this may sound a little harsh or controversial, but I personally go into the mindset of every sales call that it's not about the client telling me what they want. It's about me telling the client what it is that they need. Remember, we are the experts, we're the web design experts. We know what the client needs more than the client does because we're, again, the experts doing this. And so I go into every sales call with the mentality that I know exactly what it is that they need. Again, this finish line over here. And my goal is to get the client to that finish line, again, as best as I can. And not only that, understanding the finish line, but I also think it's important to just establish yourself as someone trustworthy and likable that takes their job serious. And for that, I think visual cues are super important as well. I'm going to go ahead and remove my whiteboard real quick just because I want you to see. So I actually spent a good amount of time and money working on my background and my lighting and my setup for Zoom calls because I want to be up here 99%, compared to the clients that I'm jumping on a Zoom call with. I want to look better than 99% of them. And I know maybe that sound weird to say, but I really want to look as an expert when jumping on the Zoom call. And I do think my background and my video quality does that as well. So I highly recommend investing in a good camera. I have a nice little Canon camera on a tripod with a teleprompter, investing in a nice background, set up some nice lightings. That way you look like a professional because first impressions are super important. I can't tell you how many times I jump on a Zoom call with a client and they're blown away with the quality of this video. And it just shows that if I take this call serious, I'm going to take their business serious. I'm going to take everything serious. And I think that's super important. So establish yourself as the expert. Let me go ahead and switch back to the whiteboard. Establish yourself as the expert. Again, go into the sales call with the mentality that it's not what the clients want. You're providing them what it is that they need. And also do what you can from a visual perspective to look like you take your job seriously. So those are the three things that I do to improve my sales call conversion rate. Now let's go ahead and talk about the actual script or framework that I use on every sales call. So let's go ahead and make this blue as well. Actually, I'll do this. So script, and we'll go ahead and highlight that. Cool. And then let's switch back to blue. So there are 4 stages, I would say, to every sales call that I have. And the first stage is rapport building. Building rapport. Probably should have said it that way. Building rapport. But the first thing that I want to do is really just humanize myself on the sales call and kind of have fun with it. A lot of these people know that they're jumping on a strategy call or a sales call that they are going to get sold to. And so what I want to do right away out of the gate is defuse the situation and get everyone who's on the room, which is me and the sales prospect, super calm. And so I do this by just starting casual conversation right away. And there are 2 things that I usually do out the gate. And those are, one, I either ask them where it is that they're calling from. So ask where they are from. Or the second thing that I would do is comment on something within their background or video. So comment on something within background. And again, this is just building rapport, humanizing myself. And so when I ask where they're from, I usually, they tell me where they're at, and then I usually say something along the line, oh, what time zone is it for you, by the way? They'll tell me their time zone, and I'll make some sort of joke like, oh man, time zones are too confusing for me, never understood them. Like, it's crazy to me that I feel like you time traveled or something, you know? They usually say something like that. Or commenting something on the background. This would just happened a few days ago when I was on a sales call. Jumped on a Zoom call, and I saw that the person that I was on call with, they had this huge library behind them. And I didn't even introduce myself. I didn't even ask for their name. Like the first thing out of my mouth was like, yo, that is like the coolest library I've ever seen. Dude, that's like the biggest library I've ever seen. Like, look at my library in the back. It has like a few books or whatever and stuff. And I was just commenting on their library and like super excited about their library. And then we got to start talking. Like I asked them, like, "Oh, what's your favorite book on that library? Like, have you honestly read all of those? Like, be honest with me, you know?" Now just like joking back and forth, and again defusing the situation because they already know they're coming on a sales call. They're a little bit. Some of them are a little bit like timid, like, "Oh, I don't want to be sold to or whatever." I want to lighten up the mood right away, make some sort of comment, some sort of small talk, humanize myself. And those are usually the 2 things that I do. Ask them where they're from, make a little joke about the time zone, talk about where it is that they're located, how the day is. Or usually, if it's something cool in the background, make comment on the background and then have conversations about that. And then after I build rapport, I jump into the next step. So let's go ahead and make this blue, which I call taking control of the call. So I really want to establish that kind of I am in control of this call and I'm leading exactly how it is that it's going. So after I have my small talk, I usually tell them something like, cool, so I don't want to spend too much of your time, man. So the way that usually these calls go is that I ask you a few questions about your business to make sure that I understand what it is that you're doing and that I could actually help you. And then if it is a fit for us, at the end, I could tell you about my services, how much it costs, how it works, all of that. Does that sound good with you? Usually say yes and so forth. So the things you want to do here is let them know, and let me make this red. Let them know what is going to happen on the sales call. So just straight up tell them exactly what's going to happen. And again, the first things that I do are one, ask them questions. And then two, after asking them questions, make sure they are a fit. They are a fit for your service. And then lastly is just going to be telling them about my solution. So solution, and this is just me providing information on the product I provide or the service that I provide, how much it costs, how to get started, etc. So I pretty much just straight up tell them that, I don't hide anything. I don't, try to, I don't know, anything. I just straight up tell them, I'm going to ask you a few questions, make sure that we're fit for you, make sure I'm able to help you. And then after that, if it does look like I can help you out, I'll let you know about my services and like, all that stuff. So I take control of the call, straight up say what it is that the call is going to be about. Perfect. So after that, I call section number 3 the why section. So my whole goal is to get them to say the pain points that they have. And again, we talked about this earlier. I pretty much already know the pain points that they're going to bring up because, again, I have a target market and every target market has their certain pain points. And I've studied that market, so I already know exactly what they are. But the goal is to get them to say their pain points because when they say their pain points, it is almost like they are going to sell themselves because once they bring up a pain point, what you're going to do is provide a solution. So you know the pain points, your goal is to get them to say the pain points themselves. Let me go ahead and write that down here. Get them to say their pain points. Cool. And so the first question I usually ask is actually usually something very broad. And so I'll say something. So go ahead and talk to me. Why'd you want to jump on a call today? Simple, straight up, just like that. So I tell them something like that. And sometimes I would say it's like 50-50, or sometimes they're just like, oh, I just wanted to get more information. And to me, that's not a real answer. That's kind of them still being shy, still being inside their cocoon and not ready to go on to their real pain points. And then the other 50%, they actually jump into it and they're like, yeah, I need help with this, and that. And they're really just hammering it home and already selling all their pain points. And it's going to be super easy to sell that person. But for the first person who tells you something like, "Oh, I'm just here to get some more information," what you really want to do is continue to probe and ask more questions. So probe and ask more questions. So if they're kind of hesitant, one of the first things that I like asking is if they already have a website or not. I think that's a really good follow-up question for those people who are a little bit hesitant to kind of reveal stuff. So I'm gonna write that here. Usually they either have a website or don't have a website. And when they don't have a website, it's usually the easier thing to sell because if they don't have one, they need one to start marketing their business. So super easy. And if they have a website, they're usually coming to you for one of 3 reasons that I found. One, they have a website, but it's pretty much ugly. So it's like a branding problem. Two, they have a website, but the conversions are not the greatest. And they won't actually go out and say conversions. They'll usually say something like, I need help getting more clients. The website's not working well. But of course, that ends up being conversions. And so they don't have the website. Conversions are usually 2 of the main problems when it comes to them. So that's usually a good question if they're a little bottled up. So do you have a website, not a website? And if they do, have a website, again, continue to probe into the questions, trying to uncover their pain points. Oh, so what is it that you don't like about your website? Go ahead and write that down. What don't you like? You like about your website. And again, usually this leads back to one of these 2 things over here where it's a conversion thing or it's a problem thing. And you continue to probe and uncover the pain points. And then at some point in time, if you need more probing, I'll kind of just straight up ask some of the questions that I have over here for the pain points. And like, oh, so do you have any photos and videos for your website if we were to design you one? And if they say no, boom, I already provide a solution to that. Have you thought about a CRM system or a booking software for your website? Like, how do you plan on capturing leads for your business? Oh, I'm kind of overwhelmed. They say whatever it is, boom, I brought up the pain point, provide the solution, and other stuff. And so your goal here during the why to me is to get them to say their pain points. Cool. So pain points. And now the fourth stage of the web design sales process to me is providing the solution. And there's a few things that you want to do at this stage. One, you want to make it as frictionless as possible. Two, you want to make it so that they don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry about anything. And then two, if you're in a stage to do so, what you want to do is provide social proof. So when I provide the solution, what I'm really doing is providing the solutions to the pain points that they uncovered. And again, because I know the target market, I already know what those pain points are from the beginning. So let's walk through an example of a service that I would offer that pretty much covers every pain point that they have. Let's go ahead and make this orange. So here's the website package that I pitch. It's going to be a one-page website for $19.97. And then it includes photos and videos that you could utilize. So I already have a stock of photos and videos that we could use, so you don't even have to worry about getting photos and videos. Again, boom, hitting one of the pain points. I'm going to include all the copy plus on-page SEO for the website, so they don't have to worry about writing any words. I already know exactly what should be written on a website because again, I've already worked with this target market, so I know what the customer needs. Not again, going back, it's not what they want, it's what they need. And so I already know the exact words to go on the website. So I'm going to provide the copy and the on-page SEO. I'm going to provide a CRM or booking software integration. And again, solving pain points. I know the target market, so I know the exact CRM or booking system that's going to work best for their business. And I'm going to help them integrate that into their websites. And then the last thing I'm going to include in this is 1 year of free hosting. So this is an example of a service that I would offer to them. One-page website, all of the photos and videos that you need. You don't have to worry if you don't have any. We're gonna make you look like a professional who's been doing this for a super long time. I'm gonna include all the copy on this because I built over 100 websites for this niche. And I'm gonna make sure it's on page. The on-page SEO is optimized so that you rank high on Google. I'm going to include a CRM or booking software integration on it because I know the exact software that works for your business. We're going to set that up so you can start generating leads and closing customers right away. And then we're going to have 1 year of free hosting. And it's funny, I started including 1 year of free hosting because weirdly enough, for this one-page website that I sold for $19.97, if I sold hosting for like $50 or $90 or whatever it was, for some reason that always stopped people from wanting to buy it. And I'm like, you're gonna about to spend $2,000, but the thing stopping you is like $50. I didn't say that, but in my mind, I would say that. So I started including 1 year of free hosting, letting them know. And we're gonna include 1 year of free hosting. That way you have an entire year to make sure that this system works for your business. And then after a year, it's gonna be this amount for the hosting. But at that point, you're gonna have so many customers, working in your business that you're not even gonna think about the price point at that point. So I usually like saying something like that. And I want you to realize that this offer that I created hits all of the pain points for the customers. And now this is for the imaginary niche that I have here. Obviously, your offer is going to be catered to whatever niche and pain points that they have. Remember, it's all about uncovering their pain points, having them uncover their pain points, and then providing a solution to that problem. So this is the exact process that I go through for all my web design sales calls, and it has done me wonders, and it has allowed me to build that six-figure web design business. And now I recommend using this for your web design business. Now, if you want a copy of the exact notes that I wrote in this video, go ahead and check in the link in the description or somewhere around this video to get a copy. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My phone number is 714-312 3376. If you have any questions about starting or growing your web design business, I'm happy to help you out. My name is Fernando. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.